Pre-show. It's the pre-show, y'all. I need like let's have a theme song for the pre-show. I only have a theme song for the show. What's up, everybody? Hi, over there on that camera. We fancy over here. Y'all can't see the floor. It's a mess. I got like papers and stuff on the floor. It's crazy over here. What's up, everyone? If you're just tuning in, live and direct, the Hip Hop Can Save America podcast, live for the month of September, which means we are almost out of live. Oh, no more lives to go. We got one more day after today. And today's guest is super dope. Tomorrow's guest is super dope. And then we're going to take a break. We've been doing this for a month. Have you been watching? Have you been watching? It's been pretty dope. You can catch all the replays, and you can catch it as a podcast also. So that's pretty cool. Today we're going to be talking to some real friendly friends that know a lot about a lot of stuff. So stick around, y'all. If you're in the comment section of wherever you're watching, YouTube or Facebook, hello, I can see your comments. Please say hi. Let me know that I look good, smell good, taste good, feel good. And we're waiting for our guests to arrive, and we're going to get right into it. I'm not going to keep you waiting. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't you dare. Pull up. It's lunchtime. Get your lunch. Let's go. A lot of y'all been following this series throughout the whole month. It's been pretty cool to see. People are into it. No one's doing it quite like me. So, real recognize real, I suppose. I'm looking at the feed. We look good. We're getting ready to get going. I love it. I appreciate y'all for taking some time out and hanging out with us so we talk about hip-hop in a real intellectual manner. How hip-hop can positively benefit humanity. We've covered a lot of topics this month. And please sign up. Even if you're not going to stick around and watch the podcast, the live stream, sign up as a podcast. It will let you see more episodes coming up. And I'm ready to get started. I'm not going to keep nobody waiting. Let's do it. All right. I think it's theme song time. Y'all ready? You with me? Say hi in the comment section.
The thing about hip hop today is it's smart. It's insightful. The way that they can communicate a complex message in a very short space is remarkable. And a lot of these kids, they're not going to be reading the New York Times. That's not how they're getting their information.
My hip hop will rock and shock the nation. Hip hop culture is more than music.
Peace to you and speak the truth. Show 'em what peace can do when there reach for you.
My hip hop will rock and shock the nation. Rap is something you do. Hip hop is something you live.
So hip hop didn't invent anything, but hip hop reinvented everything.
Yes, y'all. You don't stop. It's your man, Manny Faces, back like I never left. Another live episode of Hip Hop Can Save America, bringing it to you live and direct from Newark, New Jersey. Brick City is in the house. How are y'all doing? On the check-in today, in the comments section, let me know where you're rocking with us from, what your city is. I love to know where people are from. So in the comments section, just rep your set right quick. We are broadcasting out to the world from Newark, New Jersey. And we're doing it live. Now, this is, if you're just figuring this out, just kind of catching on, for the month of September, I've been doing these live streams, making sure that we can bring you interesting stories of people and organizations that have been using hip hop in inventive, innovative, groundbreaking ways in areas outside of just outside of entertainment. So we're talking about the intersections of hip hop in education or science and technology or health and wellness or spirituality we got into this month. Politics and social justice, always at the forefront of the intersection of hip hop and society, but generally in ways that you can uplift humanity, improve society in some way. There's a lot of people doing this kind of work, and a lot of times they gotta also tell the story about the work they're doing. So I felt it was helpful to try to come on and expand their work to you, whoever might be listening or watching. bringing them out here so they could spend a little less time trying to sell themselves and someone could tell their story. So that's what I do. I do it here live for the month of September, Monday through Thursday. We have one show left after this. We've been doing it for the whole month. So if you've missed any of it, you can go back through wherever you're watching me here, Facebook, YouTube. You can go back, watch the old videos. You can binge, as it were. You can Manny Faces and chill if you'd like this weekend. And of course, repurpose this. You can bring it on. Sign up as a podcast. Sign up. Subscribe to the podcast. There are actually some episodes that dropped this month that weren't on the live stream. That were done previously, regular interviews recorded, not done video. They got dropped. Shouts to BS, David Bradshaw, who has a whole freestyle rap academy. This Freestyle Love Supreme Academy. He got his own thing popping also, although he's involved with that. So using freestyle rap to try to find ways to hack life, become a better public speaker, become, more confident, all the things. So that was one of the bonus episodes that dropped this month. And then throughout October and for the rest of, my life, we'll be dropping episodes on the podcast feed. So do subscribe wherever you find podcasts. Hip Hop Can Save America. Wherever you find podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Joe's Podcast Shack, wherever you find podcasts. I am going to remind you that we are sponsored by our good friends at Funkadelic Studios. If you're an artist or musician, you live in New York City, Midtown Manhattan, Funkadelic has reopened and they're safe and COVID free inside the rooms. They're low capacity, disinfected, doing all the right things. So artists who are itching to get back at a rehearsal recording, Funkadelic Studios is your spot. The Newsbeat podcast, which I'll talk more about at the end. We got a really interesting episode coming up that I want to tease you about. And of course, brought to you by me, Manny Faces Media, that put all this fancy pants thing together. So if you need some podcast or some live stream work done, holla at you. And boy, MannyFacesMedia.com. But enough about me. I'm not even going to tell you to go to the patreon.com/MannyFaces if you support this work and you can help make this happen. I'm not even going to tell you that. We're not even going to do that today. What's more important than me, as you can see on the screen, today's scheduled guests, TK Dutez and C. Conscious Cons. Bonfire Radio is in the house. I do believe you can hear me, see me, smell me, taste me, feel me. What up?
I can. How you doing today?
All right. Hey, I'm surviving, so that's good.
Yeah, man.
You're doing pretty good, I would say. And you got a great t-shirt on, so.
I do have the classic.
Yes.
The classic.
That's a throwback right there.
Listen, well, I also got I have the white bonfire with the circle logo. I got that as well, but I wore it earlier this week and I didn't want to play myself. Not that y'all can smell me, but it is what it is. It's good to see y'all faces.
Good to see you too, man.
You too, bro. We appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. No, mutual. Man, listen, we go back. There's a million things we could talk about. We scheduled this very early in this month. A lot has happened in this month alone. I've done a lot of these shows. We're very conversational, but I'm not going to go through the whole origin story of Bonfire Radio. BonfireRadio.com, of course, is an online internet radio station that's been in existence for now 7 years, 7 years plus. The owners and operators right in front of you here. Community-oriented, multiple programming, scheduling, great shows, great personalities. TK in the AM was the long-running morning show on that station. You guys have new shows. There's a lot of things happening. It's been evolving for the people. Yeah. Can you tell people sort of the current state of the union at Bonfire Radio, what you guys got going on, and a sample of some of the programming that they could find?
Let me take it started and you finish.
Okay.
So I would say that pandemic hit us. Yeah. So
there's that.
As business owners, entrepreneurs, and just people that are always thinking forward, we had to make some adjustments, But we're online radio. So that means that we can continue to broadcast, except for we had to step out of our studio space because, that's just not the thing to do. What it's enabled us to do is empower our broadcasters. So now they're working from home and they build a new skill set because they have to get the technicals going. So we are learning how to maneuver around that. And then within that, we started creating different programs specifically because people are kind of in homes. And our whole motto is like this shared listening experience. So like on Sundays, you're part of Sunday. One day I said, you know what? Nobody can go to church. So let me do some kind of church thing. But
Right.
people have different faiths and all that other stuff. So taking that into account and thinking about church and thinking about different kind of music, where does gospel music meet secular music, inspirational talk. So from the gurus to the thought leaders and things like that, followed by some jazz, and then 3 hours of Manny Faces, from Newark, New Jersey.
Yes.
So thinking about things like that has helped us to kind of what we've already been doing, kind of like talking to people through these things that happen in real life.
And you know what? I think that the pandemic low key was the thing that, like, we were thinking about all these things, right? But once you get going on the hamster wheel, you can't stop. Right. You can't refocus. And we were thinking, like, literally, I was like, yo, Conch, we should do, or he said we should do Sundays. And then, like, this was like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then the pandemic caused all of us, me, you, see, everybody that's watching, to stop and say, okay, wait, now there's a need, right? There's a need for people to be vibing, to be inspired, to want to come together, because now we're stuck being individuals by ourselves in our cribs. So the pandemic met us.
We get bored too.
Our minds
I got to do something. We're bored. Like
we're bored. That's it. So I think I'm taking this pandemic low key as a blessing that, like, helped us bring to fruition a lot of the plans that we had. And I think people are starting to see the value of community-based things, community-based radio and conversations. And, it's tough. It's tough competing with the socials. And, but you know what? We're staying focused. The folks that want to come, they get lifted, and we get lifted off of that.
Right.
That's true indeed.
We're always here.
It's true. as a DJ, and I do have the show on Sundays there. I used to play out, and I miss playing out, and I still miss playing. So we still, it's church for me too, even though it's not church. So it's like you said, we feed off of the feeding.
Yes.
If that makes any sense. So COVID aside, just because, again, I don't want to rehash the origin story. Bonfire is a great origin story. It's done so many great things personally that I believe in the community space, in the kind of the community, keeping that at the heart of what you do. I think it's been, textbook example of, I think of We Love Radio back in, with Spike Lee joints, and the storefront, talking to the community, seeing what's happening in the community, not just in the Brooklyn streets where you guys are at, because I remember you've had people in the middle of the Ferguson uprisings. People were calling in and, from the street reporting, and small internet-based, podcasts or radio stations, they don't think community first, and they don't think like global community second. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so it's always been important for you guys to do that kind of work. And COVID aside, the 7+ years you've been doing it, the independent media landscape, the field that you guys looked ahead and saw and were able to see coming.
Yeah.
What does that landscape look like? Just because the barrier to entry got so low, we could talk about this in the podcast space. It's kind of a parallel, kind of parallel art. So there's been sort of the leveling of the playing field we talk about, but also the oversaturation of the market.
Oh yeah.
Independent media over the years, where do you see it just as a landscape from your feet in the middle of it?
Yeah.
Man, listen. So
I know it's a course. We could teach a course.
I think what's happened is we came from a space where not everybody was doing a thing. So like you had to sell people on maybe selling music online. So we got Spotify now, but before it was Napster and it was P2P, and labels didn't really want to do anything online. The internet wasn't the thing. So you could start building a thing and you could get close to the audience, but as soon as you start adding more social media things and they figure out, oh, this is how we're going to get these dollars, just this flood of people comes in. And now here comes the advertisers.
Yeah.
And here comes access to a lot of things, but then you have a lot of people that are varying skill sets. You know what I mean?
So it democratizes.
It did, but you've got a flood.
Oh yeah. Well, let me take that next. So, while it democratized the airwaves, quote unquote, right? I don't know what we're on now. The web waves, the airwaves.
I know.
While it democratized the ether, it also showed us who has the staying power, right? And by staying power doesn't mean you can, like, we did 1,000 episodes, sure, that's staying power, but did we do it well, right? Did we
get better?
Did we get better? And if I mean, shoot, from the first episode of TK and the AM to the last one, woo, yes.
Vastly
but
different.
I am watching people make programming that are realizing right now in real time how difficult the work is and what it means to be consistent and in community with people. What needs to now shift in the mindset are the selfish reasons that we go on, right? The selfish reasons that we go live.
Seen.
Yeah, is do you know, like not just seen visually, but
reach, numbers, money.
It's a very
success
thing.
Yeah. Do you have something you want to say? And what I noticed is if you go, like, this is not new. Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, all of those places where one can stream, they are individualistic spaces, right? Where you have a company, a network, a group of people, a community station, like even like WBAI. Like, I'm not saying nothing new. I'm saying that you really see who's trying to empower other people, right? Because I can make my own IG pop off, but can I take the time to help other people get their shows better, to show them how to stay on longer? And can we do that for each other? It low key, not low key, it remains to be seen, right? I think what social media has done has fed more into our individualistic selves than our community selves. And it's very difficult to go up against a person that is talking to themselves in a mirror.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, I would also say that because like the advertising and all that other stuff, there's a false idea of what can be done. You know what I mean? So like people are more just like, I want to do this. It's almost like the I want to get on mentality. I just want to be seen in front of people. But the question that you have to ask yourself, especially if you're doing something community-based, is what value do you give the viewer or the listener? If that's not your number one and you're not working earnestly to do that, then you're losing.
Yeah,
and we can see that what you're doing. You know what I mean?
I mean that goes across all media creation. If you got a blog, if you got a company, if you know, is your messaging just pure? If you banging me over the head with an email saying, "God, I got a sale, I got a sale, I got a sale," but if you're telling me, "Hey, I know you like my products. You probably also like this other stuff about this lifestyle. I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about how to live your life. And if you want to buy something from me, you can." You're offering me value right out of the gate. I'm going to have a better relationship and understanding of what it is we can do together.
Right.
Yeah.
Bonfire's always done that. You've opened up basically the airwaves to broadcasters to have their own shows. And like you just said, kind of get better. You're offering mentorship at the same time in a lot of cases. You don't want anything, sounding horrible, representing the
Yeah, I mean, and also everybody has theirs. Right. It's levels to this, right?
I'm sure. We want to give people the opportunity, but we have to, safeguard that it doesn't sound like it's radio.
Yeah, no, fair enough. But I think it's valuable just to offer that, how's it happening now? If people were saying, I have an idea for a radio show, I have an idea for, a live show or a podcast show, and they say Bonfire Radio, this sounds really great. Can I play all the music without being cut off like I get cut off on Instagram?
Yeah.
Explain sort of how the station works, how people actually become broadcasters.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they would generally just reach out to one of us, let us know their idea, right? And they have to, like, the thing is, what we realize is that folks want to just come on, right? So, like, first of all, you got to have an idea. You have to have a plan for it, a format. Like, how are we going to do this?
Again, like you said, there's a lot of work to this.
Yeah.
One of my journalism colleagues says, he used to we used to have a weekly newspaper out on Long Island, and everyone wanted to be a columnist, right? You get all these, hey, I'd like to have a column. Here's my article. It's really intelligent and it's an op-ed and it's so smart. And he was like, oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I would think about you having a columnist. Give me 20.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you have 20? because I'm not going to just see your one piece and just give you a column. And I need to see that you could do 20.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like that. You got to at least show me a plan, an outline. Yeah,
something.
gotcha.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of people get discouraged.
Right.
Because they want accountability in that they would like the hand holding, but also we are not, you know what I'm saying? We're not a school. We can teach you.
But we are. I mean, we teach podcasting.
Yeah, but
Right.
also like for free. No, we're not doing that. But
We often talk about the pick my brain.
Child, don't get me started. But like basically just
I'm here to get you started. That's why you here.
Oh, you do get me started.
You want to get riled up. That's what he wants.
Yeah.
He wants that Jerry Springer.
That's
But,
it.
you know, just come with a plan and also come with a plan to say how you're going to get this to folks.
Right.
Right.
Because build it, they won't come. There's too much. It's great that you have, and of course you're on a network sort of, so you do have some built-in audiences, some crossovers, but that may not be enough.
Nah.
Right.
I got you. That was my fault.
I was going to say, I was going to say, basically it's not enough. And I think also what social media does is we think it's enough, but we don't realize we're in an echo chamber of our own homies.
Right.
So yes, the same 10 people will come back, but are they 10 different people every time?
Right.
I give you 10 different people every time.
Right.
But you know, your mama and them, that's already a given.
Right.
So,
Should be.
I mean, I think part of the preparedness for doing anything, especially on social media, is to have an understanding of the technology that you're using. As it pertains to like algorithms and how many hashtags you should use on IG. Once you know what works, you can play there, and I think a lot of people forget that. And this is across the board. So when you do get on a platform, what do? You go and you read their white paper, they have videos, all this stuff, preparing yourself so you could be the best. And I think one of the things that we talk about as broadcasters all the time, especially when we teach podcasting, is to remember that, especially if you're out here, you're documenting people's lives or you're telling stories, and you have to care about that, because now for the record, you pull that person's story out, or you
have to care about it for them.
So, right.
Not for just you. You have to care about it for the other person that you've just roped into a thing.
Yeah.
Well said. Piggybacking off that a little bit, this whole idea of dealing with the digital spaces economy, the digital economy, selling things. You're creative, you sell things, you talk about this, you give gems sometimes about how to evolve and adapt to that world. Obviously, again, we're not going to pick your brain for free for the whole thing, but just, top of mind, what are some of the things that you have to watch for in this changing economy, especially now when, again, COVID has brought a lot of people to the digital space that weren't prepared to be there, and it clutters up everything. How is it for? I read an article. I have it up here. You can't see this, but they can. It was in the New Yorker recently, September 14th. It says, "How can we pay for creativity in the digital age? Ooh. There's still money to be made, but it's mostly not the creators who are getting rich." And I know we're not always trying to get rich. I know there's more to it than that. But as a creative that deals pretty exclusively in the digital realm these days, how do you see it? What are your thoughts on the whole?
I've always been a proponent for, since we're using a tool, to reach out to the people who deliver the tool. So study the tool, notice the tool, build relationships with the people that run the tool. I mean, when I was doing music, I would go down to every country, company. So I would go to Spotify, I would go to Reverb Nation, and I would have conversations. A lot of these things, like even YouTube creators, they have places where you can go. They have these hubs. Yeah. So being aware of that and be ready to have that conversation with them. But I think the biggest thing that's important is finding something that you really like. Right now, I'm using Buy Me a Coffee.
Okay.
It's an amazing platform, over 100,000 users. But the people that run it are so on point, and they're so active in the social media space. You know what I mean? So you want to look for a place where you can actually see there's a really good community there, and the people actually care about you.
But that's the buzzword, right? Community, right?
Yeah.
And then the second buzzword, care. These people
are.
But you can tell as a human being, you can tell when
Right.
someone actually pays attention to. I was just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he flies drones, and he's been flying them all over the world, and he's getting this database of stuff. And what he told me is that he took a class with this one guy that was kind of teaching, like, you know how these master classes, everybody has a master class, but he was like, this guy officially is a master class. Like he's constantly, he'll text you. So we're looking for places like that where people are really caring about that, and they're giving you all the tools, they're giving you everything that you need.
Right.
And I think we, as creators, we need to release certain ideas we have around income and money and economy, because we're saying a lot of words like, I hate capitalism, but yeah, you still have to pay your bills, and you still should maybe get a 401k.
Do you hate capitalism though, or do you hate being broke?
Yeah, you know, and I mean,
if you were rich, you may have a different.
Right. So I think that's a big part of it, but that, you know, that goes into everything else that we understand during COVID, like our traumas and all that. That's a whole big story. But the opportunity is there. I think studying is the biggest thing for anything that we do to get an understanding or a grasp of what's real and what's not. Because we do spend a lot of time, no one's listening. Yeah, but you know what? If I have 1,000 followers on Twitter and I only look at my analytics and I say I get 100 impressions per tweet, that means that a very small percentage is listening. So we have to be realistic about those things. And then you kind of like double down on really being a great person to those people. So you follow up on the tweets, you use your emojis, you do everything that any person that networks in real life would do on internet.
You don't lose that because it's internet.
Right.
You don't lose your manners.
but no, people do. And unfortunately, that's the problem. I think you got to remember, at the end of every tweet, at the end of every comment is a human.
It's true.
So if we think about that more, we can develop better relationships. And if your goal is to have a great relationship and to really focus and target certain things, well, I need to do this better. And I think sometimes it's simple as, you know what, maybe I just want 5 people today to listen to this record, or 5 new people to sign up. We get so caught up in these numbers, but what matters is the attention that we pay to those that are captive and care.
Right, because if you lose those by ignoring, like taking them for granted, I guess, you know, and trying to expand. Yeah. I got you. And you said the key word in that whole thing, one of the keywords, since you're picking out buzzwords, is learning. And Cons, you're always online. You're always you're very transparent about like kind of how you pick up on things. We've talked offline, but you're also online, and you just talked about investments. You've talked about, you know, investing money, cryptocurrency, things like that. And you admit very freely, I'm learning this as I go, basically. And I'm learning this now. And you share a little bit.
Hood Market 101.
There you go. So first of all, see, I'm listening because I
know you're listening because you responded about a little thing.
Because I've been touching a little bit too, because I'm like, all right, what's with this stock market? Let me figure this out once and for all. Because it's always been my personal, it's not my thing. I'm not a financial guy. I'm a creative guy. I'm a visionary guy. But when it comes to money, you know, I had a, Mrs. Faces, can you like get the money situation right? Because now, but I want to learn more about that, and you have access to all these things, and so why not? Like, take some time to do that. You also said recently that there is opportunity in downtime.
Oh, a lots of it.
And I know one rich guy. Okay, I know a lot of people that are but I know one rich guy, only one. But the lesson that I learned from him, passed down through his peoples, is exactly that in downtimes we could be, and a lot of us have a reason to be in despair. Don't get me wrong. A lot of us don't have jobs, we don't have money, we couldn't invest in anything to begin with. Yeah. But knowledge is free for the most part. Yes. And if you do have a couple dollars and you do have some creativity and ingenuity, you could find something that you could maybe, like I said, opportunity does exist. It's how the rich get richer, but I could get a iter.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Right. There has to be some kind of investment, not just monetarily, but into, I guess, planting the seeds that, so I always say plant a seed every day. And that can mean reading something, or that can mean being kind and putting a post up that says, how can I help you? Yeah. Because that's part of being able to see that come back towards you. But a lot of it is just 100%. self-study a lot. And I think in downtime, you get to question, if you're a person that wants to question, like the general, because we're so polarized. So, somebody's not telling the truth.
Right.
Where's the empirical data? You know what I mean? A lot of things we could do a whole lot better if we just studied things. They're like you said, they're very much so available.
And what I recognize in your journey, because I'm a bystander, and I get a lot of the info secondhand, or osmosis through. I'm like, oh, this one here, is really your constant unwavering commitment and dedication to your craft and creativity,
Right.
whether or not it is the same like this, the art behind us, whether it morphs into digital art, right? I'm watching
and
you
it had that, and I had to do that. I had to make a pivot because I was doing well with painting. And then COVID happened.
And then the shirts, right? So I'm looking at you and I'm seeing a person that has never quit on the creativity in the lean times when things were extra hard financially, right? Like this is wild that we talking about a time in COVID and where everybody's talking about, you know, we stress, we broke, we don't have no jobs. We are having a conversation about how we're doing better. Right. And honestly,
I can have that conversation a little bit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's I want to just say to the streets, like, it is okay to do well.
Yeah.
Right. And it is okay to, through those lean times, you must lean into yourself, your creativity, the thing you're dedicated to, because he's been creating stuff that now can go, that technology has caught up to this guy's brain. And it's blowing my mind as a watcher.
It's blowing my mind because I'm him.
You know, so
it's really wild,
you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Right.
You
and
know?
I mean, they said what?
And now we hear in COVID, you know, I'm getting turned up. Motherfuckers are struggling, and here we are trying to, you know, learning how to make a way for ourselves through the readiness that we had in the really, really tough time.
But I will also say, so when you say in downtime, what you do, and this is something you should be doing anyway, but you should be doing self-assessment. I think one of the things that keeps people from, there's boxes. They think a thing is supposed to be done a certain kind of way. The people that are most successful are disruptors. They don't care about how you said things are supposed to be. We were born at a time none of this existed.
Right.
So if we have the mentality that we were born into, we will fail.
Mm-hmm. Because the people that made all these platforms for us to go on, right? And they are the disruptors.
Right.
And their creation of these platforms they are begging us to disrupt, right?
Right.
So to follow the conventional rule of life,
right,
it makes no sense. So you got a whole bunch of people trying to fit. We are trying to fit into a conventional society, a conventional life,
unconventional
tools and technology. So I'm like, yo, break the mold.
You're supposed to now.
Right.
Interesting.
Right.
Well, y'all been breaking it for a while, thinking ahead of the game. And again, I loved you said you don't have to be ready if you stay ready. That's like the Hulk's, you know, I'm always ready. That's my secret. One question I want to get into, this is again, in the media, you've probably seen it doing what you've been doing for the past 7 years. TK, you're heavy in the podcast space. I know you've seen it there. And it's an extension of what we talked about earlier, where we have a more equal playing field for lesser and underrepresented voices, underrepresented communities, stories, issues, because anyone can make a podcast.
Yeah.
And now you put it out there and you put it, or anyone can, you know, it's not as easy, you know, putting together an internet radio station. I know there's a lot of, you know, behind the scenes work to make Bonfire happen, but generally speaking, you can do this stuff. You could put out these, and you have the chance for your voice to be heard. That's great. What you don't have is sort of a truly equitable landscape.
Yeah.
We know that there's in the podcast world specifically, you and I are tuned into it a lot. There's been ownership issues, you know, with, you know, the Nod and, you know, public media, public radio with leadership and executives, you know, being brought in. So you don't see, even with the big spotlight on diversity, inclusivity, and belonging, and all these things that have cropped up, you know, loudly this year. It's always been loud, but
right, this year especially,
companies have been saying, oh, maybe we should put out a statement.
Yeah.
Even with all that's happened, you don't see an equitable landscape yet in podcasting, in indie media.
No.
What are your thoughts just in general on that?
Oh yeah,
because you've been a veteran of public radio, so you've seen it from the sort of the corporate side as well as the indie side.
Yes. All right. So
start your own company.
Let's party. Yes. Well,
I don't know. Open up the world to some things.
That's where all of this has led me, right?
Right.
But we can circle back to that. And true equity has to happen when the people at the top, or where the people with all the opportunities are prepared to give up some of that, whatever comes with the perks, right? And right now, or for a long time, people of color, marginalized communities have always been seen as, like, let's get TK, or let's get these guys as talent, right? So the visual cue would be there, but there's no control, there's no management, there's no whatever. And how do we get to that management spot if folks aren't hiring? And forget about, like, let's take hiring out. If I don't have the training, if I don't learn how to be a good manager, how can I become a better leader up top when it's time for me to be CEO? Right. Yep. So then you put me,
through no fault of your own.
Through no fault of my own. You put me, a Black woman, in a tough spot, right? All I want to do is elevate. I want to get to the top, and I need to fight and duke it out with people that have mentorship, that have had internships, opportunities. Also just the bias of being, working with someone Black. So then you have, this person is difficult, or this person is intimidating, and you just trying to do your job. So now true equity happens when these people lose all pretense of what they thought being anti-racist or anti-sexist, or what is it anti-sexist? Whatever, child, but lose that shit. And here's the thing. Public media, people at corporations, they are not prepared to lose it. They are prepared to put out statements. They are prepared to hire more Black people, but not train them. They are prepared to put up real loosey-goosey fellowships for up and coming creators of color, or whatever, marginalized people. And I'm like, apologize later. Well, here's the thing. If you put up a fellowship for me, or for people like me, you are utilizing that as a pipeline to indoctrinate me into the same vanilla behavior that you are. So you're just gonna let's bring Black faces and make them learn our process. But if you folks are not ready for this back and forth, that we speak a different language, that we live in a different America, that we have different sexualities and gender presentations. No, they ready to talk about non-binary this and label that, and I got the words for this event, right? I don't give a if you got the words for this event, fam. Is your boss racist or not? And to call someone at the top of something that is a good thing, public media is a good thing. It puts in the faces of these people that they are not. When you hear the R word, when you hear racism, or that a thing is racist, it puts them in fight or flight mode. And then they shut down, and then they can't have a real conversation about what this means. And I also would like to take the opportunity to say that, and it's not just white people, there are a lot of folks at the top of ladders that have learned the ways of white supremacy, because of survival, because it hurts me to not climb this ladder after 20 years or 15 years or even 5 years. So guess what? I learned how to be ruthless. I learned how to be cutthroat. I learned how to not pay attention to my community. And then here I am perpetuating the same BS, right? And then expecting more from people that have less, that learned less, that have no mentorship, internship, fellowships, right? So I am begging, not begging, I'm not begging for shit, excuse me. I personally am always trying to put forth and remind people that honestly, our job is to bring other people with us, right? When we have the energy, when we have the spirit, when we have the space for it, do not sacrifice yourself for this greater good, but do bring people with you when you can, because that's the other half of this, right? Because the expectation of being a marginalized person, have to bring a whole crew with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if I became a rapper right now, it'd just be me and Conch. That's my crew. So you know, who am I bringing is like-minded people that get it, that are also going to bring other people along. And to have true equity, folks need to be able to release and have these conversations without seizing up inside.
Right. I just read the 4 agreements.
Say it again.
Read the 4 agreements. Like, so like, all right, let's remove the identities. Treat human beings like human beings should be treated. So you don't have to be doing all this stuff. You don't have to learn every word. You should learn those words, but that shouldn't be the thing that, because that don't mean shit.
Right.
Knowing those words don't mean anything if you don't care about those words and care about the people that use the words.
Yeah.
So just be decent and, you know, want things to be fruitful.
It's funny because on the corporate side, and you broke it down a lot of the problems, because it's there's been so much focus in the corporate world on, again, diversity, belonging, inclusivity, opening up these employee resource groups, opening up these departments, hiring the brown person to run the diversity department because only experts, they can only be experts in
that one thing,
in that one thing. But there's been such a push for corporations to the word culture, the culture code. Companies have to have a culture code now. You can look on the big companies, look on all the big Ben and Jerry's and Patagonia and all the things. They have a culture code now.
Right.
Yeah.
But what you're talking about is the culture of the company not being really truly as inclusive as they nowhere near what they say that they are.
No.
Yeah.
And
the other thing is, you said you have to give. You have to be able to give up the privilege, right? You said it. You have to give up the equity.
Yeah.
Your own equity.
Your own.
You have to be willing to. I mean, I'm not just saying about me, but I might have done better with my light ass if I didn't go around calling myself Manny Faces. Just saying. I don't know.
No.
You know what I mean?
And that's like a real like. That's some real shit.
That's too hip hop, bro.
That's too
right.
Because who could
I've sent pictures. I've sent pictures that I'm not getting answered. But I'm just saying. I don't have it I don't have it as bad as everybody else has. I understand. I get it.
But you understand what you are experiencing is what people that are marginalized experience all the time when you can't change your name, right?
Right. When that's your name.
Right.
Because they see Keisha do tests on the top of a resume. They make a decision.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? So I have had to be very strategic about the work that I take, the people that I take it with, what visibility that's going to afford me, so that when you see Keisha, a very black, one of the blackest names out, you know what I'm saying? When you see that you don't flinch anymore, because I've had to do so much work on the front end, to beat you down, to show you that I am good, right? When, you know, somebody else doesn't have to work that hard. And honestly, like I love, you know, I love what I do, friend. You know this. I love that I just said fuck it and decided to try a bunch of different things and to see what worked.
Yeah.
I resent that I had to.
Yeah.
I resent it. And real talk, I'm jealous of other people that have had it easier and have gone further and get paid more than me right now with 15 years of experience under my belt.
Right.
Yeah.
Professional.
Yeah.
In my humble opinion, but a lot of people's humble ass opinions.
Right.
You shouldn't have to, and you shouldn't have to. And that goes back to the corporate culture code. If you want equity in the landscape, then you should be having, what is it, like blind resumes where they don't have identifying information. Like that should be your corporate culture. You'd be like, no, I don't want to see anyone's name on on a resume. Or maybe you should, and then be like, because I don't know if people can do. I don't know if you could. That implicit bias can go away overnight.
Right.
So if that's the solution in the meantime, I don't know, but you better be having that conversation on a corporate level if you plan on really being open and inclusive and for all these things.
You know, this funny thing, it's like if you really want a successful business, you hire the best people.
Yeah.
And a lot of time people are just not hiring the best people. So I can give you this resume, and if you're biased to it, and then you wonder why your company's failing. You're the one that gotta that you gotta talk to investors when your company doesn't do well.
Well, and not just and hire the best people, but offer them the best support. Right. I recently got to be a leader of a team. I'm no longer there anymore. But one of the first things I did when I started with them was ask the producers that were working with me. I said, "What do you want to accomplish for your career?" Right? Like I was like, I don't have answers for everything, and I don't have a lot of power per se in the situation that we're all in. I'm a cog moving the wheel along, but what can I do for you? Right. So what do you want to learn? And each producer or person that was on the team said what they wanted, right? Like, okay, by the end of the year, I'd like to learn more about X. So what I did was reach out to my colleagues, my good friends and people that I know. And I just said, listen, man, if I put some money in your Venmo, my personal money, right? I said, if I put a little money in your Venmo, can you have an hour talk with my producer about mixing? Can you, or they were like, you know what? I saw this really cool class. I want to go to it. And I said, boom, check your Venmo, get the ticket, go to the class. Right. Okay. And what that does, like I'm a regular person, right? Like I'm not doing anything special, but it helped me to know what they wanted in life and also what they wanted in terms of the job so that they could do the job better. So the person that took the mix consultation, she became a better mixer, right? She became a better engineer. So I'm like, none of this came from on high.
Right.
Which
is a problem, but
right. I wanted to support them the way I wish that I would have been supported. I wish I could still be supported now, even as a person in the game, because a person like me that is largely self-taught but still has a college degree, which says a lot, right? Or says a little. I still need mentorship. I still need a person to say to me, TK, what do you want to learn about and how can I facilitate that? Right. And without the equity there to have put me in positions to do those things. I do feel like, for a long time I fell behind my colleagues, Right. But here we are, we jamming. So, at the end of the day, recently I started my own business, a little boutique podcasting house.
Another something like that.
A little something.
Another business. That's right.
Here we go again. But y'all keep
I know how that goes.
We love a business. Me and Manny.
Got a business.
Me, Manny.
We gonna be collabing.
We love business. We are. So I got work coming out next week under the banner.
What's the name of this thing?
Yeah, let people know now.
Yeah, it's called Philo's Future Media. Philo is short for my grandmother's name, Philomen. And I consider myself and my cousins and my brothers, we are her future. And media is the jam. So, Conscious is always my co-conspirator in these things. And we're trying different things,
And is that the answer? I mean, I think, Conscious, you said in the beginning when we started this little segment, you said, start your own business. Got to do it yourself. Got to just make the way, create the future you want to see.
I think it's about start a business or support something.
Yeah.
Because
I have conflicting feelings about it because
that's a big thing though.
I didn't want to start a business.
Right.
But you have to if you want
I had to start a business. Right. I was forced to start a business because not because the opportunities weren't coming, but because I wanted to operate in a way on my own projects that showed a level of professionalism. Yeah. And it just doesn't look good to just be like, TK made a thing. Woo!
Well,
trust me,
I know. Makes you accountable.
Trust me, I know.
So much stuff.
But
this is a nice thing I got.
Oh, this is a good look for you.
But it's just a guy. It's just some guy with a thing.
With a thing. But that's what I'm saying. We got to get these LLCs behind us.
Yeah.
So
that's
folks,
true.
because sometimes the conventional way of I don't want to be conventional, but guess what? I have never been more stressed than when I had a conventional situation, right? So I'm gonna keep it real because it's you, it's me, it's the crew watching. But my health has suffered greatly, because of the way things are going right now. But I realize it is a cumulative effect,
right,
of the what happens in a workplace that doesn't support you, and then what happens in an industry that doesn't care about you. So my remedy was to create that place, right? To take all those little experiences, and I might not be able to employ people, but when I am able to hire and give out freelance opportunities, I have built a situation where I can hit people up, and get the support that they need for these things, you know. So it's complicated, man, because some of us just want to work, right? So we don't want to.
I just want to do the work.
Yeah,
I just want to make good stuff, and like I gotta apply for.
Want to get your health care? And like what are we doing? Why are we out here? I want to say to the people that want to work, child, work, but do not stay in a situation that's effed up. Go ahead and put in those resumes and find those places that appreciate you. There is a place that appreciates you that will allow you to work at your highest level. And if don't let them bring you down here.
And if you do work, challenge the way you're working. Be better. You know, because there are a lot of people they get in these jobs and they think they be like, I deserve this and I deserve that. Right? Yeah, you should get your check and all that stuff. But are you really assessing? Am I that good? Like, do they really need me? Or am I just kind of coasting along? You know what I mean? We were not kind of taught how to really assess our skills and then like make those flourish and push them out. You know what I mean? And embrace new models of looking at situations, you know, be pragmatic about certain things within our lives and within our business, you know, and kind of follow a more natural way. I mean, we're always chasing a thing instead of developing the skills that make us better at the thing that we love doing. Don't love doing
with that and with that self-assessment, right? When you realize that you're the shit, or when you realize whatever that not really the shit, like when you realize that you have standards,
right? Okay.
You can not just self-assess, you can assess the situation
that you're in,
whether you're a 9-to-5 or freelance or independent or whatever. You
whether
can
that's
say
fine for you, or whether you need a little bit more. You need a hobby, something to alleviate something.
And then you learn also why you're there, right? Yeah. So you shift, right? So okay, if they don't take me seriously and I'm the only one hired as this kind of professional, right? And was I hired to be creative and innovative, or was I hired to be a minion and a slave? Right. Just let me know. Let me know, because then and a slave. This child, this is just because
they combining jobs, cons like
minions and slaves,
minions
together.
And slaves now together. You got we gotta downsize.
But I'm just like, once you know how you moving and what situation you move in, you lessen the disappointment inside your soul.
Right. I was listening to an episode of The Moth, which I like. I like The Moth. The podcast.
We love a storytelling podcast.
I love it's a good story. It's the best. That's what it does. Yeah. And it was a brother actually who was from the rap group The Spooks. You remember this group?
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
They had one song out. They had like a one-hit wonder. It was Things I've Seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's a jam. It's a bop, as they say.
Oh boy.
But they had like kind of a one-hit wonder deal, one record deal, toured Europe, and then kind of went back to real life. And he talked about his journey, and it was an interesting episode. It was from a few months ago. And at the end of it, he, his punchline, I'm gonna give away his whole thing, but at the punchline was basically, because he had the jobs, he worked, in the corporate grind, and he had to figure out where he wanted to be. And then he got involved in like kind of a youth development thing where some of his arts background and being able to be a musician helped. He finally found his like little area. But he says at the end, I had to find out who I wasn't to find out who I was.
Absolutely.
That's real talk.
Absolutely.
And that sounds like what we're talking about here.
Absolutely. Gotta find out who I am.
Yeah. And sometimes you got to say, well, I'm not this, so I must be something else. Right. And let me find that out.
And you get to choose, because that's what life is. Life is to create your life.
Yeah.
Right. Choose your own adventure.
Right. Oof. So once you start doing that, you're not going to accept certain things if you've come into a realization of who you are and who you built. Yeah. You're not going to accept bullshit. You're always going to check things. And then, like I said, that 4 agreements thing, you're going to be impeccable. Right. And you're going to be an example, a lot of times. And I think earlier we were talking about the leader stuff, and there's not a lot of leaders. There are people that purport to be a leader.
Right.
But are you doing that extra work to be a better leader? You know what I mean? So when we talk about the equity, all that stuff, a great leader is doing that.
Right.
And they're empowering people to be great and fill those those spaces so that business can thrive or that organization can thrive.
Sure.
If you're not doing that, you suck.
I've been a manager in like, corporate settings, and it's like people don't always come in with all the right skills. They're raw. They need to be, like you said, do you get the proper training? Do you get the internship opportunities? No, a lot of times don't, but we know we hip hop heads too. So we recognize that there's a lot of stuff that you have skills that aren't definable by those standards, by educational standards. We know that comes from communities of color, hip hop folk, whether they're, whatever. We know that there's a lot of, that you have to translate.
Yeah.
Oh no, the power of the cipher in a business setting is very powerful. You know what I mean? Like you have to bring that. We call that a gathering. Like you have to, you know what I mean? Like you got, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
Right.
So you have to be a manager that understands that. You have to be open to other people's perspectives and understandings, and find a way to nurture it or to bring it into the vibe. But you, like you said, you get to choose to be where someone's not doing that.
Migrate your disciplines. You know what I mean? If you take a break from one thing, I know as an artist, I started was poetry, rap, stuff like that. And then I stopped doing poetry because I didn't like the way the scene was. So I ended up doing free hip hop now. So I'm doing writing, and I started editing other people's writing. So it made me a better writer. So when I came back to do poetry, I was more amazing at it. I was more to a point. So everything that you learn, there's a way to put it into the next thing.
It's all transferable.
It should be, hopefully, these skills that we gather years of being and having experiences with other people and learning. Yeah.
Well, y'all have shown it. I mean, like you say, you did poetry once, and now you do, 38 things that all kind of have that DNA though. Like the things you learn from that first gig. I mean, we all do that to some extent. We get up there, as you get older, you try to take the experiences. Now you have bad relationships, not to mess with someone like that again. Hopefully. Things like that along the way. It's a part of adapting and finding ways. Now, I'll let y'all go in a few seconds. I just want to ask like one more thing, because this is kind of tough, but you guys spent 1,000 episodes talking to people 3 days a week. People got used to you being their voice of,
everything,
right?
Unreasoned,
consciousness.
I was about to say, and that with that comes probably another blessing and a curse, that people look to you for answers sometimes, and you don't always have the answers because we're just people, right? Y'all still there? We froze. Y'all froze. That's weird. We're all in the middle of it, everybody. But they froze, it looks like. That's weird. I hope y'all can still hear me on the feed. The connection with our guests just froze, so I'm hoping that they jump back in. They'll probably come right back in. You're watching Hip Hop Can Save America live. This is live. This stuff happens live. The podcast that exists as a podcast, but for the month of September, we've been going live Monday to Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We got one more show after today. Those will be our last 2 shows for the month. We'll take a break. I'll take a long nap. We'll figure out what we're going to do next. It's been crazy. But I appreciate you for rocking with me, and we'll get them back in a second. Also available as a podcast, wherever you find podcasts. Hip Hop Can Save America. Hey, Lunik, I see you. Hip Hop Can Save America. You guys are back?
We're back. Okay.
We switched to the phone.
We switched to the phone.
That was weird. All right. I still got you.
We lost the internet for a second, but we switched to the phone. We on that good LTE.
It's that 5G, man.
Got all the bars, man. Oh, the 5G, man. You got to burn that tower down,
son. Your hat, man.
You got to burn that tower down, son. But look, I was saying that people have been used to coming to y'all for sort of advice and just being like friends, friends in the head, as to borrow another radio personalities thing over the years. But you've always been kind of preaching, and I know you don't always have the answers. I certainly don't. Nobody does, especially now during these times, pandemic, everything going on, all the stuff we've been talking about, having to pivot our lives professionally and personally as entrepreneurs, creatives, members of communities that are being targeted, and just it's a mess with social justice issues, political season, everything. But I know you guys preach self-care a lot. And I know you guys, share those experiences with folks. And because I look to you as not only friends, but inspirations sometimes, and we bounce things off of each other. TK, you and I have had conversations when you weren't feeling right, and I said something and made you, you were like, okay. And y'all have done it for me, and I know you've done it for a lot of people. When you think of self-care during these times, what are some things that have kept you both maintaining?
Kick it off.
It always starts with self-study. You can only focus on one thing at a time. You can't have two ideas in the head. So if I spend my time on things that devote me to learning, that actually change the vibe of my body, you know what I mean? My general self-study and awareness of what's happening to my body as these things outside me happen, and learning how to make things better or to mitigate any damage that comes from an external source has helped prepare me to make better choices, you know what I mean? And to feel good in the midst of the craziness. I think that is the most essential thing. People say know thyself, and that's a real thing. And I mean, even for people that may be suffering from depression and other stuff that's just like very heavy, when you start to realize how amazing this body, this thing that you are is, you're like one of the most sophisticated pieces of technology on the planet. And we know more about sports scores. When you start to go within and do that study and then understand how other people are and human behavior, you start to move differently, you know what I mean? And you start to make choices. Like I was saying before, like we spend a lot of times in these kind of presets and they don't work for us. Right. Some of us can't read really well. So we better study while watching a lecture to understand the self and to understand how you navigate and how you can do these things better. Is the best kind of self-care you can ever have.
And I would add to that, all of the above. And man, like guarding boundaries, guys, boundaries. Setting them and forgetting them. Set it up so people know how to approach you or how not to approach you.
Right.
Be clear about it. Then what I'm recognizing in my quest for boundaries and being clear about them is that also at some point I have to stop yelling too, right? Because the yelling and the being upset, it causes more attention that I cannot handle inside, right? And disturbs my sense of rest. And rest is something that I have become acutely aware of during the pandemic, fam. Especially with the staying home thing, right? Because no one is on I don't know how folks' jobs are, but nobody's breathing down your neck, right? You don't have to pretend to have 20 tabs open. Fam, we already knew you did, you know what I mean? We already knew what time it was. You was looking at the Google Doodle. So just instead.
That pressure has been alleviated.
It's been alleviated. So you know what? 2:15, I'd be like, 2:15, I feel tired.
Right.
And if I don't have a meeting on the calendar, I'm going to take a nap.
Right.
I'll wake up at 3:15 and guess what? I'm ready for the world, fam. I'm doing better work than I did before. So getting accustomed to rest, learning that I need to stop yelling if I don't want to be bothered. Don't give motherfuckers a reason to bother me.
Also,
boundaries.
In having an understanding of the amount that we use social media. It's not that, I'm not saying that it gives people the license, but it does invite them to fucking talk to you. And I don't think people really grasp, if you are on 5 different social media channels, tweeting, someone's going to talk to you.
All things, I know you know, Manny, and I know you've been watching my feed, all things I'm learning in real time right now. And I'm not ashamed to share that with y'all.
No, that's why. That's why I asked. I know you're not ashamed.
I also want to say, when you talk about self-care and the devices that we use, right? And we talk about design all the time. I just got a new phone, and the phone really is smart. The phone is built around me not dealing with the dopamine. And so it's giving me an opportunity to take care of myself. And a lot of technology is now being built better in that way. So a lot of people say, I can't put my phone down. Well, turn off your notifications and decide that I'm only going to do a thing at this time. You have to do that. We have to
True.
stop blaming technology for the things that we're doing. Because I know me personally, my phone doesn't make sounds.
Man, he's like, yeah.
Yo,
No,
my
that's
phone doesn't make
brilliant.
sounds.
But it's the same thing as people saying, I hate what I see on Twitter. But like, you chose who
Why
to
you on-
follow.
Yeah.
Like,
Why
you're
you on
choosing to why on Twitter. But let's say you're on there for whatever reason. Like, look, journalists have to be
Right.
on Twitter. No.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, I hate the people. But you're following the people that you chose
Yeah.
to follow. But like you said, you can set things up.
Right.
You
Just
can
take
set you can
responsibility.
turn your do not disturb browser
Right.
plugins and things like
Right.
that. You don't have to throw your phone away and live in in the woods.
And you need to prioritize your time anyway if you want to be successful at anything, even
100%.
self-care. You make
100%.
appointments for yourself. What every Tuesday is
Therapy
Tuesday. Well, I
Tuesday.
don't go to therapy. I do go to therapy.
I do.
Yeah, I mean, I actually
No.
took it as a day. And what I will say is a therapy Tuesday and a quiet Sunday will change the dynamic of your whole life if you're consistent with it. Because then you start getting into the science of why that actually heals you and makes you better. And that's another
Right.
story.
Mhm.
But
Right.
make appointments. We're adults. We need to take care of ourselves. If you get up every day to brush your teeth, why can't you get up every day and meditate? Knowing that will change your body.
Or doing the thing.
Doing the
makes you
thing
happy.
that would make you happy.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Make appointments, yo.
you meditate. I make ice cream. I don't even
That's a
like,
meditation.
yo,
you gotta put stuff together.
like real
That's
rap raw,
fantastic.
like ice cream. I don't know. Like that was not a thing that was
Right.
on my
Right.
favorite foods list. It was just
Right.
like, what can I chemistry together that will take my mind off of something
Right.
and then make me excited to look forward to it when it's frozen. Right?
Right.
Can you focus on craziness while making ice cream?
No,
you
you
cannot.
literally can't.
Right. You have to do the thing.
I
do the
told
thing.
you, it's science.
It is
Child,
science.
we done did. We said too much, child. We said too much. Y'all, I do love the nap ministry
Right.
on Twitter. Nap ministry.
I like naps. Like sleep naps.
Right.
Oh yeah, like sleep naps.
I'm a
and
sleep
just
nap guy. So
talking
I love
about
naps.
self-care in
Right.
in the restful
Okay.
phase and
Yeah.
what and what
Okay.
that means.
Right.
The
Good
nap
recommendation.
ministry on all social media.
Right.
That I think it's a woman. That person is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nap
Consider the
ministry.
Pomodoro method. Take the naps or take the breaks in between doing stuff.
Right.
Because as human beings, you cannot consistently do things without kind of burning out. If
Yeah.
you want to effectively remember things and be present, you do something for about half an hour, take a 5-minute break, then get
Yeah.
back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole point is you want to be better at a thing. So start
Right.
to engineer your life so that you are getting better
Mhm.
things, result from
and-
time you spent.
Time management, loosely termed, but that whole concept of how you better use your time. I know time management as a,
Right.
it's too structured. It's too, no. But I've been working on trying to find for me, it's a combination of 17 things. I got my Google
Right.
Calendar, but it works for, I write some things down. I still have a
Right.
sticky note. I got to figure out the assortment. I can't just have a planning book. I can't just use my phone.
Right.
I had to find a way to do it, but it was a mission. And I
Yeah.
and I found it and it works for me. And
Yeah.
like you said, you don't have to get ready. I'm taking your quote. You don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
Yeah.
I was ready for pandemic when everyone's like, all these
Right.
Zoom meetings in my calendar. I was like, nah, but I already mastered my
Yeah.
calendar system. So I'm good.
Right.
I'm good. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
Shouts to Kitty Bradshaw who says, am I late or is this running over an hour? With these two, it's gonna be an hour. Yeah, it's gonna run as long. I gotta put the
Sorry.
brakes on because we'll talk forever.
Yeah.
But y'all drop gems. First of all, to me, you're geniuses.
Thank you.
And we say that word. No, I mean it. Like, you've always been ahead of the game with everything y'all do. It's been inspiring to watch it, to be inspired by it. And even when like I said, you just started your business, but I started a business, but because y'all started a business, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
we watch y'all. There's a lot of us that pay attention to what you got, what you do, how you've been moving in these E streets and staying afloat, being able to pivot. It's inspirational.
Yeah.
You are geniuses. Of course, y'all have Therapy Tuesday, and then some people have Quiet Sundays. My thing to do is come on Bonfire Radio Sundays from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern with the R&B brunch,
Yes.
and go through 50 or 60 years of musical history, just playing music that makes me feel good, that makes other people feel good.
Child, I'll be laid in my bed on Sunday, still at 3 p.m. I listen to you. That's why I don't pop into the chat room until like an hour later.
Yeah. You just
Well,
laid
not
out.
till 3 hours. I'll be like in the middle, and I'll be like, Hey, Manny, I done heard the whole show, child. I was laying down right in the middle of the afternoon, just getting my nap ministry on and having those soothing R&B sounds.
There you go.
Segway King.
Oh,
I've got the Michael Jackson cover up on the screen for the people. The promos.
My favorite.
Yo, my mother saw that like a year ago and was like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "You would know if you listen to the station."
Ooh.
Yes. Well, ooh.
Yo, mothers get aired out too.
Woo.
And on that note,
no one's safe. Bonfire Radio. My show is on Sundays, but as I tell people when I'm doing the show live, I won't be live this Sunday. Ironically, I'll be away taking a long CBD infused nap after a month long of lives. I'll be nap ministering my ass off.
Yeah.
But what we do is I tell people all the time, there's a literal plethora of programming on the station. Every day of the week there's shows, multiple shows. Plus you can just turn it on. You don't need the lo-fi hip-hop channel. You could just turn on Bonfire Radio any time of day, get that good music that's been programmed, curated by the Music Super, playing super music.
And also Macedonia.
And Macedonia as well, whose show I love, by the way, is really even more favoriter than my own show. I love Macedonia's show.
Yeah. Both sides of the surface.
Both sides of the surface. So real quick, again, Bonfire Radio, I'm putting the image on the screen for the peoples to peep. I do encourage you guys to check out just real quick rundown, just a few highlights of programming that they could find.
Yes. All right. So you got it. You R&B brunch. Macedonia's B-sides, both sides of the surface. Myself and Conscious do a crazy show called Am I the Asshole? And we
radio game show.
Yep.
Live radio game show.
And you can it's interactive. You can talk to us. You can take the polls. If you like, I don't know, if you thought we got spicy today, then we get extra spicy. We got our brother Fabian with the Feel Good Happy Hour. Again, more feel-good programming. We have our brother K Swift out in Oakland who is doing Swift's Weekly Review, which is a review of new Black music in multiple genres.
I do my show Friday Feeling from 11:30 to 1:30, followed by this Dolo Presents. Oh man, and then Macedonia also on Friday nights.
Yep.
And then we have
Wonderful World of Carmelita.
Wonderful World of Carmelita, and on Wednesday,
that's a day one right there.
Itself.
She's been a day one from France, from France.
Overseas
but hitting us
vibe.
with that good international
flow. Yep.
Flow, fam. And quiet as it's kept, sis, she's been with us for many years now, at least 4 or 5 maybe, since we were in the basement. But she's coming up on her time, and so we want to support her all the way through 2020. So just check the calendar on bonfireradio.com and you can see all the shows. But really, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is where it's at. Just turn us on.
Jay Smooth on Saturday.
Jay Smooth!
The mighty Jay Smooth.
First hand bits itself on Wednesday.
We got, bro.
Two comedians doing their thing.
We just out here.
I got the count. Now, that was a lot for people to take in. What's great about what you guys have on the technology tip, TTT, as I like to call it. Now, for the first time ever, there's a calendar. I'm showing it on the screen. There's a calendar there. It looks like a Google Calendar. You find the show you want to be reminded about. You click the show you want to be reminded about. It says, do you want to add this to your calendar? You say, hell yeah. And you click the yes. And now you have an alert on your calendar. It's a super helpful
that way. We
way.
don't have to harass you. You just know.
Right.
You don't have to give the choice. You make the choice. We don't need your cell phone number. We don't need your I
ain't gonna tag you all the time. You know, I seen the complaints. We're not gonna tag you.
You grown. You grown.
Permission-based marketing.
Right.
That's it. Opt in that mother.
Yep.
Well, listen, obviously I'm biased. I have a show on the station. I've had several shows on the station. I've been with y'all almost, I think, pretty close to day one myself. But, I always spread the bonfire gospel far and wide. And anyone who watched our conversation today knows why. I hope that, I wish you nothing but continued success. Anything you ever need from me, you have. And I hope to see your beautiful faces in person, uninfected, in the very near future. God
very soon. Thank you, brother. We appreciate you.
All right, y'all. Be safe.
All right.
Peace, y'all.
All right. The mighty. Oh, you can hang out in the green room or just cut out. It's up to y'all. It's all good.
Okay.
The mighty. Bonfire Radio family, in effect. Again, community-based, for the people, by the people, of the people, all about the people. Genius is I'm not lying when I tell you that everything they have done with the station and their ancillary projects has just been a brilliant way to navigate the ever evolving broadcasting, independent media, digital economy landscapes. They're an inspiration to everyone. 1,000 episodes of TK in the AM. I'm wearing a shirt, OG supporter. And I just think that it's really how community radio should be done. If you are not familiar, please get familiar. Don't take my word for it. Tune into the program again. Bondfire Radio, Bond with a D, word is Bond, bondfireradio.com. And again, programming there 7 days a week, 365. There's music or something playing on the show. And you can find me Sundays, noon to 3 p.m. Eastern, the Sunday R&B brunch, where I start usually about 50s and 60s, play some old jams, bring it all the way up as close as I can to current in 3 hours, and I kind of go where the spirit takes me. So sometimes I don't get there, but we have a good ride along the way. And shouts to everyone on Bonfire Radio, all my station mates. And I will be playing a repeat this Sunday because I will be away celebrating the end of this run, this September run of Hip Hop Can Save America. Amazing interviews, amazing conversations with incredible people using hip hop or having a hip hop minded way of doing things in areas outside of merely entertainment. We talked about today was a lot of entrepreneurialism, self-help, self-care, just a way to look at the world, corporate dealings and interactions. Again, podcasting, live media, digital economy, all these things from my folks at Bonfire Radio. We also cover areas on this show of education, science and technology, health and wellness, the fine arts, politics and activism. Get ready for that last show tomorrow. A brilliant guy who is one of the another genius, as far as I'm concerned, in the world of hip hop event making. You'll see what I'm talking about. Tune in tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Hip Hop Can Save America. I got to turn this long ass thing into a podcast episode now. So I'll be working for the rest of the damn day. But yeah, after tomorrow, we have a break, but there will still be episodes dropping on the podcast feed. I got a bunch that are in the vault, finishing up the editing. Great sit down conversations with folks from, again, academia, mental health, politics and social justice. I got someone that I just can't wait to share the episode with you. You will learn a lot. You will be inspired, especially in these troubling times when it comes to social justice, politics, all the things that are happening. You'll be inspired by the guest that's coming up. So please subscribe as a podcast. If you're watching live, go to hiphopcansaveamerica.com. Find the link, subscribe on a pod. Even if you don't listen to podcasts, you probably have Spotify. So you could just follow the show there and listen to the podcast there. But if you have Apple Podcasts, that's great. Leave a review if you haven't already. I know people always ask for that, whether it helps or I think it helps. I got some great reviews. I'm a 5-star. This is a 5-star podcast, I'll have you know. It's also the world's smartest hip hop podcast. So there is that. Now, I said that, but no one's challenged me on it yet. And it does sit on the recommended materials list at the Harvard, you have to say it like that, Harvard Graduate School of Education. So they recognize the brilliance in this podcast. And it is because I'm brilliant, humbly, but not as brilliant as the guests. So once again, thank you to today's guests, TK, Dutez, and C, Conscious, Cons, or C. However you want to call him, I'm sure he'll respond to. Bonfireradio.com, my friends, my family. Back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Love y'all. Deep breath.